Let me tell you a little story. I hate my old life, working for a dead-ass job and being quite depressed. Since I started with crypto, I took control into my own hands, making money as I should do, and not being a slave in this industry, basically. And in this video, I would like to motivate you a little bit and why now is exactly the right time to be in crypto. So let's get into that. Welcome to the Fomo Factory. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. Check out the Patreon. There is a link down below, but not going to show that too much right now. I want to jump right into it. So I got introduced to crypto when well, how old was I? It was 2013 at least, so 10 years younger. And a friend of mine, he said like, hey dude, I've bought Bitcoin, and I had no idea, right? He said like, yeah, I have 1,000 of these things and they are now worth $400,000. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of fucking money, man. And so I started to buy it myself as well. And I bought one Bitcoin as I was like super broke. I didn't even have that $400 really, but I did it anyway. So I had one Bitcoin, and that went pretty fast. In 2013, the crypto market, let me go back to that specific time right there. I don't know what that's doing there, but okay, fuck off. Let me get a good chart to show you exactly where I got into it. So yeah, I got into crypto around here, I think November 2013. Once Bitcoin hit $800, I felt like, oh, nice. You know, I doubled my money. I can use that $400. Let me sell. So I sold that Bitcoin. I know, right? For $400 or for $800, like a week, 2 weeks later. And I thought like, okay, cool. I have $400. I'm Dutch, right? So I smoked it all away probably. I don't even know what I did with it back then. And then I never really looked at crypto anymore. Then in 2017, I really noticed crypto again. And sorry for this, by the way, I can't seem to get it going. But in 2017, I got into crypto again, and I don't even know what the price of Bitcoin was. I wasn't really into Bitcoin back then. I was mainly going into altcoins like Byte, Stratus, Verge, well, Litecoin. I was giving away millions of Dogecoins to a community that I had back then. In hindsight, that was worth quite a lot of money. God damn it. And I did not really understand bull markets, bear markets, and I did not know we were in a bull market. All I know was sitting with my friends in front of a big ass television, and we were seeing our portfolio going up like crazy, like insane. I had like no money, right? But I think I did the stupidest thing ever. I took a loan, and I put it into crypto, and I turned $2,000 in like 20K, like in a couple of days. It went like crazy fast. And for me, that was money I was only dreaming about. Like 20K, I was like, whoa, holy shit! Like this is insane. And I was like, yeah, if this keeps on going, like I'm a multimillionaire within no time, right? Not knowing that it's of course not up only. And then I started to ride the bear market, and that's where I lost my money just as fast. And that quite wrecked me as well because I turned 20K back into 2K or something like that. And there I felt like, oh, you know, I have ADHD, so I'm super impulsive. So I felt like, okay, let me put some more money in that I cannot afford to lose, basically. And it kept on going down, 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 and it absolutely wrecked me. And here I was completely broke, and I felt like, man, yeah, you know what, fuck crypto, it's not for me. Then I basically, in this whole period, I wasn't really that interested anymore. Also during the COVID crash, was the perfect time to be there though. But I wasn't there. I wasn't there. 2019, I completely skipped. 2020, mostly skipped. But I got back into crypto in 2021, end of 2020, basically. And what I did, I was learning a lot. This time I felt like, man, you know what? I need to understand what I'm doing right here because obviously there is money to be made with crypto. But if you don't understand how, then one, you're probably not going to make the money, or two, you're not going to keep the money that you made in the first place. So that's no use. So I have to, you know, understand how this game works. It's all probably pretty new, or probably it's all obviously very new as it's moving like hard. There's not a lot of liquidity when you compare it to the stock market or whatever. So I felt like, man, this could be a real opportunity and I should not mess this up. So I started learning, reading, watching the right videos, and I was gaining a lot of knowledge. And then I started my YouTube channel as well. I felt like, man, maybe, the things that I've learned so far, I can teach it to other people as well. So I started my first channel. And that's why I really started making some money. I went from zero to like 200K in half a bull market, basically. I really started with zero. And the way that I could have invested in crypto was by getting a little AdSense money. But that was like maybe $800 a month or so. It wasn't like spectacular. So I started like in half a bull market. I went from zero to 200K. That was absolutely fantastic. Then the bear market came, and I kind of understood like, okay, we are now in a bear market. So I took my profits big time, but also not enough. So out of that money, I was able to keep a portion of it, not everything. Can play it perfect, of course, but I definitely could have done this better. And but the nice thing is that during this whole period, I felt like, man, I was also always like some kind of an entrepreneur whether it came to music, drop shipping, crypto, whatever. I always like to do stuff for myself. So what I did is eventually I've quit my job. I had some kind of an office job and it was sucking the life out of me. And I quit my job, and that made me go full time into crypto. And as you probably understand, if you have all the time in the world to learn about crypto, yeah, then you obviously learn about crypto, right? Instead of someone who's working a full-time job and in the meantime also looks at crypto every now and then. That doesn't work. So I'm full-time crypto for a couple of years now. And man, I studied so freaking much. I studied so freaking much. And what we at least know for now is the period that where we are right now, October 2023, right, is quite where we were right here, October 2019, of course. And what I noticed, like, that's the pre-halving year. Every pre-halving year, we go down later. We go down later. So my expectation is also that we go down, right? Unless this time is going to be different somehow. But all I know, this whole period right here, that's the period where you want to be in crypto if you want to make it in the bull market. Like, everybody is being euphoric in the bull market, but what good is it if you weren't in the preparation phase? And well, that's kind of where we are right now. And I know not a lot of people in your in your family or in your circle or whatever are talking about crypto right now. And if they do talk about it, it's like, hey, how's that crypto thing going? Haha, you fucking loser, bitch ass of the family, go away. It sucks. It sucks. But at the end of the day, you are the one that is going to make it. And I saw a video from another YouTuber a couple of days ago, and I was really feeling it. This is from Jay Gordon Crypto. I didn't know the guy, but his content is super cool. He's really good with storytelling and everything. And once he told this part that I'm about to show you, I felt it. And that's part of my motivation as well. Check this out.
Again. Now, Jeffrey hated his 9 to 5 job. The sheer look of his boss's face as he entered his work cubicle, ready for another 8 hours of bullshit with a 45-minute commute home. A lot of people think also, dudes, when you're driving or 8 hours of work, 9 to 5, it's actually like a, if we're being honest, it's like an 11-hour shift or 10-hour shift, because it's like 7 till 7. Like, you have to get there, get dressed. By the time you get home,
It's 12, but
it's not, and you don't get paid for this. So the 9 to 5 is way longer than 9 to 5 if you're being honest. And I found this image on Google, guys, and it was actually quite daunting because I remember this so vividly, and you probably are in this situation right now if you are working an office job or any kind of job. Maybe you're working at home, but it's still kind of the same thing. If you just type in office job, and without even putting a bad word, like, is this it, G? Is this all you wake up for every single day, Monday to Friday? Maybe you can go out on the weekend for your 2 holidays a year, 3 holidays a year if you're lucky. But is this how you want to live your life? And this
Yes, and that's exactly my motivation. People might tell you like, yo, money isn't everything. Crypto is nice, but it's all about the money, money, money. But is that really what matters? Yes, it is what matters big time, definitely, for sure. Because, guys, money is freedom. Money is freedom. And exactly like Jake says here, if you have to work from Monday to Friday, you wake up at 7 or whatever kind of job you have, And by the time you really can do whatever you want, it's 7 o'clock in the evening. And by then, you're probably dead, right? So your whole Monday to Friday is basically gone, right? It's completely gone. That's a big part of your life. Yeah, and it sounds a little like sentimental, but life is precious. Life is super precious. Life goes fast, and um, look, I mean, if you enjoy your job, then that this is not the message for you, of course, right? But most people are working to get paid, right? Let's be honest. And if you're lucky, you like your job. But I know I didn't like my job. And the last thing I will ever do is get back to my fucking job. I've thought about it like, hey, what if I combine crypto and get a job? Then I can make more money, invest more during the bear market, and get the fuck that. No. I will never, ever, ever go back again. And the moral of that story is if you feel like, man, my life is precious as well, we have a chance in this generation to do something about it, which is fucking easy. We have like the best chance ever to change our life. It has never been that easy to make money on internet. We have literally an opportunity laying right here, which is so early still. And we have all the charts that show us exactly how it's moving. And all we have to do is take that chance right now. And you're not doing that? Like, come on. I've showed you this before, but this is the social metrics, right? The red line. That's the amount of people that watch YouTube videos about crypto or subscribe to those channels, follow people on Twitter, etc. And you see that the red line, the social metrics, is going down very hard during the bear market. And we are now sitting at lows. What does that mean? Nobody is interested in crypto anymore. Everybody gave up. Nobody watches these YouTube videos anymore. Nobody subscribes to channels, so no new people coming in. And that happened every time. Look where it happened as well, where we're sitting that low. When was that? During the freaking bottom. And if we go back in the cycle before that, I can show you as well. See it right here. The social metrics were sitting at the lows, and that was exactly where Bitcoin and crypto in general was sitting at the lows as well. And now it's funny because every time you see Bitcoin peaks, the social metric peaks after that, right? Here as well, Bitcoin peaks, the social metric peaks after that. So you just know that retail, they step in whenever it's already too late, basically. And it sounds very hard, but they are going to be our exit liquidity. I mean, crypto is player versus player, right? If you sell, somebody else buys. If you buy, somebody else sells, right? And now we have the opportunity to be here, right? Here and not here. So how are we going to take this opportunity? That's by preparing now. And whatever you mean by preparing, what I mean by preparing is just being here, right? You do not have to look. A lot of people say you want to be in crypto now, right? You want to be there right now. And that's true. You want to be there by learning, by reading, by having the right connections, by having everything set up already, by knowing how these charts work. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to now go all in or anything. Matter of fact, the biggest crypto traders, the best analysis, the people with most money, the biggest influence, they haven't even bought anything yet, right? It's not about already being exposed to the market financially, but it's about at least knowing what to expect as far you can know that, right? But therefore, we have the 4 year cycles that help us vary out until the day of today. Yeah, and I know, I mean, for the last 13, 14 years, it has been, playing out like that. So if you want to say like, yeah, okay, but now it's going to be different, then that's totally up to you, of course. I know these cycles help me quite a bit with that. So you can prepare in the way that you that feels good for you, right? I've been arguing with some people like what's the best strategy, and what works for the one doesn't work necessarily for the other. All I know is what I'm doing right now is I'm making sure that I have a cash flow. Whatever how you get that cash flow, right? My cash flow mainly comes out of crypto already, right? Because I was also here and here and here, and I already prepared for this part right here. I have my passive income. I don't have to work, like I don't have to do anything. Although every day on YouTube, every day. I didn't skip a day, right? In the beginning, I did because that wasn't my plan back then, but every day I'm here, right? Because I know that it's gonna work out. The bull market will be fine. 2025, we will be very okay, right? Only if you are here right now, right? So what I've been doing personally, I just check like, okay, what's my cash flow? And cut your expenses and blah blah. But what's my cash flow? Cool. This. Okay. When do I expect the market to turn bullish? I expect it to be July, August 2024. Very quickly. Why? Well, I mean, we have the Bitcoin halvings. After that, it's a couple of months of nothing, and then the market really blasts. Here as well, we have the halving, couple of months of nothing, and then the market really blasts. Here, around here, we have the halving, so a couple of months, and the market probably blasts, right? I mean, if I'm off by a couple of months, it doesn't really change that much for me. So I know at least for myself, like, hey, I expect the market to go up right here. How many months do we still have from now? This many months. Okay, cool. I have that much cash. Cool. How much cash can I, DCA every month or every week in that case? You can make that calculation, of course. I expect Bitcoin to go, around 20K still before the halving. Maybe lower, maybe higher a little bit, but around that level, right? But it could also not happen this time. I don't know. All I know now is the moment that is probably a good moment to DCA into Bitcoin. Although the market might go down, doesn't matter. You don't want to try to time the bottom anyway. You won't be able to do that. Also, even if you look at this COVID wick right here, this exact wick happened like fast. Like if you had your limit order set, then congratulations. But for the rest, not many people were able to get it. Right. So I'm DCAing right here. But what am I DCAing? Well, as you maybe know, as you subscribe to the channel, I'm DCAing Bitcoin right now. Why? Because I've studied the cycles so much and I know what works for me. I was DCAing altcoins this whole way. Yeah, that got me absolutely wrecked. Right? DCAing altcoins in a downtrend. Like some people say, like, yeah, that's the best strategy. Go ahead. I'm not saying it won't work out, right? It probably works out, but there is a safer way to make more money, right? Because if you dollar cost into altcoins during an altcoin bear market, yeah, when you do not know if these altcoins are going to survive in the first place, and two, altcoins go lower and lower and lower and lower, right? So that's not what I'm doing. I'm dollar costing Bitcoin. However, for the bull market, I mainly want to be in altcoins because they give the biggest gains, right? But like, for example, if we look at an Illuvium, right? A lot of people, they say like, yeah, you show these altcoins and okay, let's show a newer coin, right? If you were like in Illuvium, for example, from the top, it went down with 80%, right? You could say like, yeah, if it's down 80%, you should buy. Oh, okay, but then you bought Illuvium at $375, right? Good luck coming back to that, right? But from that 80%, it went down another 80%. And from that 80%, it went down another 45%, right? And even lower, like 50%. So especially altcoins, and that's what I really learned on last cycle. No matter if they are down 80%, 90%, they can always go down another 80 or 90%. That's not strategic dollar costing, in my opinion, at all. Right? And you just want to look at charts. So my strategy is this. Like, people might say like, well, yeah, look, it's making a bottom right here. And that's definitely the case. But if we use our brain right here, right? And let's overlay Bitcoin with this. Let's check out how that works. Okay, so Illuvium is now sitting at $40 or so, right? While Bitcoin is sitting at 27 to round it up. But the last time Illuvium was sitting there, Bitcoin was sitting at around $18,000 or even $16,000. So Bitcoin has went up pretty hard. Illuvium hasn't moved a bit, and that goes for most altcoins, right? Not only Illuvium, but also Cardano, AVAX, DOT, like a lot of altcoins, right? So one, they are weak and you were better off buying Bitcoin, right? But two, also, cool. So Bitcoin has gone up 2x or so. Altcoins still sit at the same level. Then how would these altcoins look like when Bitcoin goes down? Probably very bad, right? You could say like, yeah, but Bitcoin is not going down. Yeah, that depends like if you believe in the 4-year cycle or not. If you do believe in the 4-year cycle, then you probably expect Bitcoin to go down quite hard. And also if you like, then you can take it back even further, like, yeah, but Bitcoin won't go down because of this and that. Well, we still have the S&P, right? Bitcoin is following the S&P quite okay. The thing is that the S&P, let me remove everything right here. Thing is that the S&P is at the top, right? It doesn't look like the top. The S&P was way higher, yeah, but if you look at S&P on the M2, the money supply, you see that it's sitting at a top where it was for the last 20 years, since 2001, like 22 years. Yeah, why in these market circumstances will the S&P now break out? It's more likely to me that the S&P will have another correction. Every time it went to this top, it had a major correction. I'm not saying it will go down that hard again, but I am saying that it's likely for the S&P to have a good correction, right? Well, if that happens, we know what happens with Bitcoin, and if that happens with Bitcoin, you know what happens to altcoins. So my strategy in this case is, okay, I'm a dollar cost, mainly into Bitcoin. If I do kind of miss out on the run, I don't, basically, because I'm riding my Bitcoin back up, right? And in the meantime, later, when altcoins bottom against Bitcoin, I can buy my altcoins with that Bitcoin. And therefore, we have the chart, the total 3 divided by the Bitcoin market cap. That looks like this right here. And this is basically every altcoin on its Bitcoin pair. And if you look at it like this, very cyclical. Accumulation area, uptrend, distribution phase, downtrend. Accumulation area, uptrend, distribution phase, downtrend. We are now halfway the downtrend. And I had to do this, like, okay. But we are now here. We are doing the same thing as over here, but now we're doing it over here. So I expect altcoins to go down here. So 40% down or so. It doesn't mean they go down 40% on their dollar pair, right? It depends on what Bitcoin does. But it doesn't matter if you have been buying Bitcoin. That's what I'm doing. So if the whole market goes down, we get good entries, very good entries. If the whole market goes up, it's fine, because I make money on the Bitcoin that I DCA'd in. And if the market goes up, it doesn't necessarily mean that altcoins go up on their Bitcoin pair. That depends on the Bitcoin dominance. Now, if you look at the Bitcoin dominance, yeah, this is a pretty bullish chart, right? This is in a major uptrend for the whole year, basically. It had a correction right here from 52% to 49%, give or take. That was it. And for the rest, it's still going up right here. And also, if you look narrative-wise, yeah, what's the reason for the dominance to go down? Really, right? Like, if we get something bullish, then it's probably a Bitcoin ETF. Well, that's bullish on Bitcoin, right? That's gonna shoot the dominance up, like not down. I can already tell you that. Once we see a Bitcoin ETF, the dominance will fly. All right, that's quite predictable. So that's my whole strategy right here. Because I can tell you, you have to have the right motivation. I am not going back to that job. I can tell you that. I can definitely tell you that. And like I said, this is the most safe way to play the market, but also the most rewarding play to play the market. Why? Let me show you something really interesting, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. But this is quite cool if you ask me. If you look according to this chart, right, altcoins on their Bitcoin pair. If you had Bitcoin, right, if you applied the same strategy last time as we apply, at least I apply right now. When was the best time to buy altcoins with your Bitcoin? Was here, right? And again, you don't try to time the bottom, but if we look at this chart, the best time was here. Last week, 2020. Best time to buy altcoins. If we now look at Bitcoin on the dollar pair, last week of 2020 is here. Bitcoin was sitting at $34,000. First week of January, it was already sitting at $42,000. So that whole area around 40K. So the nice thing is that Bitcoin came from 3K, right? So the market, I'm not saying again, you should have bought the bottom and etc., but the market provided you with the opportunity to make a 12x with Bitcoin first, before you would have even had to think about buying altcoins. So let's say you put in $10,000. Let's make $1,000 to make it easy. $1,000. put it into Bitcoin, turned it into 12K. You didn't buy the exact bottom, so let's say you make 10K. Then you bought altcoins with your 10K. You bought it here. And then you wrote the whole alt season. I can guarantee you that was way more than a 10x. But let's say 10x. You bought the slow, boring altcoins. You made a 10x on your 10K. You made $100,000 with your initial 1K. And how did you do that? By being half of the bull market in the safe Bitcoin. You didn't even have to think about getting into these risky altcoins during this period right here where we are right now. Nobody cares. You were buying Bitcoin here all the way, just Bitcoin. You made a 12x already in this area. Then you convert it into altcoins. Again, yeah, of course, in hindsight, if you did this, then you've done that, very easy. But the interesting thing is that now it's happening exactly the same. And I'm not saying like, hey, then you should buy Bitcoin and then you should buy altcoins. But I am mostly playing this because so far it is working out. So far, the altcoin market against Bitcoin, right? I'm not even going to take it to the exact bottom here, but so far, and where we are right now, altcoins have lost 42% against Bitcoin just this year. So a lot of people say like, just buy altcoins for the whole year. That's nice. And maybe at the end of the day, you'll end up in profit. But so far, it's worth 42% less against your Bitcoin. So if you just bought Bitcoin, you can now buy half as more altcoins. That's my strategy. And my motivation is never going back to that fucked up job again. And that's how we're going to do it on this channel. Guys, I hope you like the content. If you do like the content, subscribe to the channel. If you're new, turn the bell notification on. There's a Patreon link down below. Early access, exclusive content, personal consulting, my portfolio, my strategies, moonshots, NFT shots, what else? Podcasts, a lot of stuff. So check it out. Take care.